I'm Kier.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Jay from Gallifrey Public Radio,
a podcast member of the GonnaGeek network.
Just like the one you're listening to right now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual.
Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
And get ready, because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1. You're listening to Crimson Comet, a fan podcast about the TV show dedicated to the Scarlet Speedster himself, CW's The Flash. Welcome to episode 29 of Crimson Comet. This week we'll be discussing the 1990s Flash Season 1, Episode 1, Out of Control, and Episode 2, Watching the Detectives. I'm your host, Haley, aka Awesome Engineering Girl.
I'm John, a.k.a. Lobster.
And I'm Will, a.k.a. Rum Daddy.
If you'd like to send us some feedback, you can find all of our contact information on crimsoncometpodcast.com. On Twitter, we're at Crimson Podcast. We have a Facebook page, Crimson Comet Podcast, a YouTube channel, Crimson Comet, and you can send us a voicemail, 423-FLASH53. That's 423-352-7453. And you can also send us an email to crimsoncomet@GonnaGeek.com, or visit our forums, forums.GonnaGeek.com, or by searching for GonnaGeek on the tapatalk app.
Tapatalk.
We haven't done the tapatalk song in a while.
No, we haven't. Hey, welcome back, everyone.
Welcome.
This is our first non-commentary episode since the finale of Season 1 of the 2014 Flash.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about the 1990 Flash episodes 2 and 3. So we're doing a double feature.
Ooh. Twice the Flash goodness.
Out of Control and Watching the Detectives.
I wish I was watching the paint dry.
Yeah, right? Oh, God.
Talk about, you know what's not out of control? The writers. Wait, maybe, I don't know. All right, let's talk about episode 1.
Is it 1 or 2?
In every bit of numbering I've seen calls the pilot episode 0.
Yeah.
And then the episodes we saw tonight are 1 and 2.
Copy.
Most of the characters that we saw in the pilot, we don't really see again, other than Barry and Tina and
the lab guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah.
The Hispanic, the African-American Hispanic lab guy.
Yes.
Julio? Is it Julio?
Is it?
Julio. Yes,
sure.
because I kept saying me and Julio down by the schoolyard, yeah.
And we don't even see that much of him.
Right. And he's just there kind of for comic relief, but whatever.
Right.
But can we talk about the fact that Iris is just, like, gone?
She went to find herself.
Did she?
I bet.
mean,
probably.
Did they even mention
Well,
it?
he got a postcard from her, remember?
She went to Brazil with Dick Pulitzer.
She went to Brazil. No, she got a Brazilian.
Oh, is that what it was?
Oh, that's what it was.
Oh.
No, he got a postcard, and Julio read it to him, and then he set it on fire.
Maybe I missed
stupid.
that part? Was that in the first one or the second one that we watched?
I might have fallen asleep.
Yeah.
I tried to watch these episodes last night, and I fell asleep in like the last 15 minutes of the first one.
Oh, yeah, you didn't miss anything.
I know, because I watched it today. I was like, oh, I didn't miss anything.
You know what is not missing from these episodes? More murals.
Mural watch.
Gotta have the murals.
Okay, so the show starts, and the first thing I noticed about Barry is Barry got a haircut.
Well, yeah, since he got his yearbook photo taken, he got a haircut.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
So we open on the Great Depression.
Right.
In the first one of these two. And I'm like, wait, are we flashing back in time to the 1930s? Like, what is happening here?
Well, the biker gang just left town. The economy hasn't really rebounded yet.
Right. We talked about that in the last episode.
I've got a couple comments on that. First of all, it was the Bush administration, first Papa Bush administration, so I
True.
could see why everybody was depressed. And second of all, because I'm old, I remember at that time, there was for some reason a resurgence of 1940s styles in like architecture and clothing. And you could totally see it when they went into the bar and stuff, and I'm like, what is this? This isn't like a 1940s movie with the high heels and the hats and
Dem dames.
Well, and since you mentioned that, let's jump ahead. Let's jump ahead to the next one just a second with like the speakeasy gambling parlor.
Right.
Yeah, what the hell was that? It felt like a Gene Kelly movie.
Exactly. But no, did that shantytown not look awfully permanent?
They were just hanging out there, and they all knew each other, and like the priests knew who they were, and it was very established.
And it's like it's not like it's in some remote part of town that nobody goes to. It's between two giant buildings.
Yeah.
So you think the police would roll through there every once in a while and run everybody off?
I don't want to say this, but unless there's a body, we are not going down there. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, it's kind of like my neighborhood.
Unless there's a body.
That's Shantytown. Now, you guys have both seen it before, I guarantee you. It's the exact same Shantytown from Little Shop of Horrors.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, God.
I bet. No, I bet. I bet you're right.
Yeah, if you've ever seen that movie, at the very beginning when all the bums start waking up and singing, it's the exact same. It was the Warner Brothers lot, so it was that same crap. It was the same. I mean, you cannot deny that this is a back lot at some studio because everything looks two-dimensional.
Every single shot.
Yeah.
Even the credit shots, you'd think they'd work a little harder on those? No.
Yeah, can we talk about the opening theme song? Because we didn't get that in the pilot. This is new for the regular episodes. And, I mean, it does have the Shirley Walker and the Danny Elfman type score. But what do you guys think of this?
It definitely opened the episode.
Yeah. I think he wrote that over a course of a weekend. And then they pay him for every episode. It's just a way to collect money.
I feel like this episode definitely needed a voiceover. Or all the episodes. Just to start it up. You know,
I mean, we're so used to it as, like, my name is Barry Allen, I'm the fastest man alive, like, all that.
I watched a lot of TV in the 90s, and a lot of times the credits had some sort of voiceover before the awesome music started in.
You're thinking, like, the A-Team, right?
Well, I was thinking Hercules and Xena right away.
Okay, fair enough. If you can find him, if you can afford him, maybe you can hire the Flash.
A lab accident left him with special powers. Now he uses those powers.
In a city called Central...
But this episode...
Okay, so it starts off with Lieutenant Garfield. I'm like, what the fuck happened to Lieutenant Singh?
He got promoted.
I guess. No.
Now, Garfield was very popular in the 90s, don't forget. I mean, this guy, I'm sure if we asked him, he loves lasagna and hates Mondays. Everybody had the little thing stuck in their car window, you know, the little suction cup cat.
That only stayed suction cupped for like a week.
Yeah.
And it was just always in the floorboard of your car.
It makes sense that we're seeing a Garfield. But, okay, so let's talk about just broad strokes, because I feel like if we go like point by point in this episode, we will just get bored. What did you think of introducing Tina's old flame, who is this scientist, and then what did
Douche Frankenstein?
Yeah, Dr. McDouchey.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming.
No. This is a Scooby-Doo episode. He's the only other character in the episode, so he's the villain.
Well, I mean,
right.
The villain could have been the priest.
And Tina is Velma. Barry is Fred.
Yeah.
And then there's those two cops that are running around this series. That's Shaggy and Scooby.
I swear those two cops are Abbott and Costello.
They show up in the second one, too.
Yep.
Yeah, they showed up in the pilot, too. Apparently, they're the only two cops in the whole city, which is why they need a superhero to clean the place up.
Well, and I love that they have the flash pool. That's a bit of humor I enjoyed, actually.
That was a good bit.
Okay, how did you like his brand new apartment? Which he called an apartment, but it had
has a
staircases.
staircase.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
How much does he make? Seriously?
Well, I mean, basically, like these entire two episodes, he's basically acting like a cop. He even gets called Officer Allen.
Right. He says he's a police officer, too.
Yeah.
Even though we know from his dad that he's not a real cop.
He's not a real cop. He flashes his badge around. He's like, oh, yeah, you know. But he is not a detective. He is not, I mean, really like an investigator other than like a lab tech.
Right.
He should not be out there solving crimes on his own.
But no, he's up on recombinant DNA stuff. He knows things.
He knows names of police officers from TV shows.
And lawyers from commercials.
And lawyers and commercials. Yeah, that's what it was. He don't know much.
He doesn't know how much he doesn't know.
During that scene, I was like, Barry's being kind of, moralizing and holier than thou and everything. And I was like, well, that makes sense. What kind of guy puts on a costume and runs around righting the wrongs of the world? So I guess that fits.
I think we should all be the conscience of the world.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be a very long summer, you guys. Thanks for
going through each of these episodes. Can we talk about the riot at the police station?
Please, let's. We're just here to talk, everybody.
Oh, wait. He called them hobos.
Right.
Yes. The hobos riot.
So the priest brings a herd of homeless people, and he just came to talk? Yeah. Really?
And they're all like banging on the glass and stuff. And then you have like the most cliched thing happen, which is one of them gets a gun and then like stares at the gun as though he's never seen a gun before. And then he's like, I have the power
of Grayskull.
Okay, we need to talk for a second about some of the props. The first being the tiny clipboard that they looked at the DNA samples on.
I didn't even notice.
Oh, it was fantastic. And then
I was just so bored.
the most important prop, the super high-tech eye scanner.
Oh, yeah, where basically all he had to do was take a picture of her eye.
Right. But he had to do it with, like, his science-y gizmo for science.
It's after he roofied her.
Yes.
Right?
Super
Total
creepy.
roofie. It was the 90s, after all.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
Super creepy.
Wait, now, was the first episode the one with... Yeah, the first episode was the one where... And this is one thing that drove me nuts. Really bad storytelling.
No.
He runs into... Yeah, well, he runs into the guy he knew from high school.
Yeah, one of the hobos.
Right. I was like, why did he have to know this guy at all?
The guy from he was
From Grey's Anatomy.
on Nash Bridges. I don't know if that was a show that was on for a while. That's what I remember him from. He was one of the cops on that show.
So they go through the trouble of spending, 20 minutes developing this character and his background story to give him a job
at Star Labs.
At Star Labs, which, by the way, he's now the original Gunther.
Charlie Gunther. That's his full name.
He is.
Charlie Gunther. And he gives him a job just to get knocked out by the bad guy, and we never see him again.
Yeah,
and
he
in
died.
The next episode, did he die?
Oh,
I
did he
don't know.
die?
I think he just knocked him out.
They didn't say, but I would have to assume so, because otherwise, why wouldn't he be guarding the door in the next episode?
When they actually have people show up,
Just
and,
wander in,
constantly breaking in.
He got knocked out, and they got a replacement named Gunther.
Yeah, who's just sucked.
There you
And
go.
Gunther is still working there. Gunther's like, I'm not getting knocked out. Come on in.
Uh-huh.
He was a bum living on the street, and he was the most qualified security guard they've ever actually had. They showed him reading a book, for heaven's sake. He could actually read.
Well, he went to high school.
I know Gunther can't read.
Tough times during the Bush administration. Tough times.
All right, can we talk about going back to the riot scene at the police station? Can I give you the phrasing line of the episode?
Please do.
Please
At one point, the captain says, "I'll slap their butts in jail."
Yeah, you will.
And I was just like, phrasing?
Where would you put the comma in that sentence?
Well, no.
You don't put a comma in there at all.
I'll slap their butts in jail.
Right. That's right. So, in jail, I will slap their butts.
I would take out slap and say, I'll throw their butts in jail.
You know what? He said what he meant, and he meant what he said.
He meant what he said. He really would.
There you go.
Let's talk for a second about how the dog is the only one that he doesn't kill with his super evil serum. Because he's a monster.
Thank God.
But he's not going to kill a dog.
I would have been really
I would
mad
have killed
if
him.
something happened to the dog.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah,
the
me
90s,
too.
so they're not going to make you hate anybody that much. They aren't going to kill a dog. 'Cause that's
They
way
better
worse
not.
than killing people.
But can we talk about how he injects serum into the dog and suddenly the dog becomes a werewolf?
A guy in a suit.
A guy in a suit, a werewolf, not a quadruped, but, a biped,
Not
standing
even
upright.
trying to pretend like he's still a dog, just a guy running around in a suit.
American werewolf in Central City.
But he doesn't know what happened to that dog. The dog just ran off after getting injected. And then he's like, oh, it's time for me to inject myself.
Well, first off, if you're gonna make a giant dog mutant, don't do it in your own lab, because wouldn't he then, that's why he had to go to Star Labs, because that thing trashed his lab.
Right.
Oh, is that why he was in Star Labs?
And wouldn't you have put it in a bigger pen as well if you knew?
Right, when it started, outgrowing the cage that it was in.
Oh, man. I love the fact that when he injected himself, he turned into B. Arthur from Golden Girls.
God.
I'm like, God damn, he looks... Oh, my God, that's fucking B. Arthur.
Dr. Jekyll, phone call for Mr. Hyde.
Oh, wait, don't you love... For a brief second, he shows up, and Tina is tied up. So instead of using his speed power to just cut through the rope or untie her...
He just runs around really fast, unraveling her.
runs around her.
But he's not keeping his eye on the supervillain, and I guess they haven't got to his ducking lessons in his superhero training, because he runs right into the guy's hand. Moron.
I know.
Barry is not the brightest bulb.
When he's rampaging on the street, and he picks up first he flips the cop car.
Well, yeah.
And then he picks up the mailbox, and I was like, oh no, that's a federal crime.
Right.
This just got real.
He was like, oh, I bought myself some time. Now they'll fight over whose jurisdiction I'm under. Wah, ha, 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 ha.
But then he kind of just passes out.
But then it gets really heavy and he can't hold it anymore.
So Barry Allen doesn't actually really defeat him. He just kind of fizzles out.
He peters out.
Well, he wraps him in a fucking chain link fence.
No, doesn't Barry take the extra vials from him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he helped.
Kind of, yeah.
And no consistency, because at the end he just wraps him up in a chain link fence, and the guy, the beast,
right.
all of a sudden smoke. I'm like, where'd the smoke come from? There was no smoke before when he turned into this thing.
Fart
and
powers.
when people turn, yeah.
It leaked up from the sewers.
He had super strong BO, mutant
You
farts.
know what? He looked like he smelled, so I'll buy that.
He did. I loved when he changes, and then, like, Tina's just looking at him, and she's like, what? What are you doing? Stop this.
Knock it off.
Stop this nonsense.
And I like how she's trying to pretend like she doesn't know who took it. I wonder who it could be besides the one person that knew that was here and showed a super interest in getting it.
Even the extras were horrible because when the Flash showed up, yay, go Flash, go, yay. What the fuck was that?
That was dumb.
Thank you. Thank you, Haley, for ruining our summer.
That's actually my last note on the last page of my second episode notes because I quit taking up notes at some point and I just wrote, this is dumb.
This is why we never got into The Flash before. This is why when we heard that The Flash was coming back as a TV series, we all rolled our eyes and went, oh, this is not going to be good. Because this 1990s version had set a precedent of how bad a TV show could be.
Now, to be fair, this is only the first real episode after the pilot, but can we all agree that this one sucks?
Yes. Yes, it does.
All right.
Yes.
Let's talk about episode 2, which, while not great, I felt was an improvement.
Not a real
Because
high bar
actually-
set by the first one.
Right. But this one
Right.
actually set up some interesting conflict and at least moral questions a little bit more than...
We were introduced to David Belzer, the reporter, and his reference to Connie Chung I felt was relevant.
So this one opens with the fire, right?
Fire.
Oh, yeah.
And my favorite is when the Flash goes to rescue the kids, and the kids are just sitting there in the burning building, not freaking out, just sitting there waiting to die.
Wait, because I got a bunch of notes on the beginning of this episode. So, first off, it's always night in Central City, and it's kind of a dump.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
Right. There's enough fire here for everybody.
Yes.
Oh no, what's going to happen to these kids? And then the kids are like, thanks, Flash. At least someone around here knows how to rescue a kid.
What is wrong with these children that they're just sitting there calmly, and then the Flash comes up and they're like, wow.
Right. And this isn't just during the fire. This is right after the floor above them explodes.
Right. And they're literally sitting there waiting for the fire to take their lives and end their pitiful existence, where the only entertainment they have is playing in a condemned building. Because, God, it's not safe for them to play outside with all the bums and mutant dogs and biker gangs running around.
Mad scientists.
Right.
They don't try and break the windows. They don't try and find another way out. Just like, hey, what's up, guys? Rescue?
Hey, we're up here. Somebody.
I mean, like, they're not even doing, like, stop, drop, and roll. Like, did Smokey the Bear teach them nothing?
Seriously, natural selection. Let these ones go.
Yeah.
And then we're introduced to Detective Legs, the private investigator.
She's a private eye, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Whose name I'm sure they said several times. I have no memory of it at all.
Me either. I don't remember who the fuck she is. But then everything was like very stylized because, hey, look, everything's like the 40s, but we also have neon. So it reminds you that it's the 90s and, pencil skirts and she talked like a character from the 1940s, like that reporter. Yeah, see?
She had moxie and gumption.
She did. She had moxie.
She did have
see?
some moxie.
Yeah.
Not unless you can cut, rinse, and blow dry for under 35.
She was my favorite part of this episode, I think.
You know what? I would be fine with her as a recurring character. Does she come back?
Yeah, she comes back in 2 of the Tricksters.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
a couple
good.
episodes. But they needed her in the main cast, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, first off, like, she's got the tech skills, and she impersonates the college intern, and, like, pretends she's the cable guy, and does all
that was
this.
great when she shows up to Star Labs impersonating the college intern. Which, by the way, Tina, don't you check references?
No.
Just someone walks in and goes, "Hi, I'm the new intern."
No, Gunther is supposed to do that for her.
True, it was Gunther.
Yeah,
Gunther's checking IDs at the door.
Gunther's dead. The first Gunther, yeah. And of course, it turns into a mob story.
Well, yeah.
All right, I didn't hate the mob story.
Mobsters and corrupt politicians. That was
Right.
fine. It was just poorly executed.
True dat.
It wasn't terrible. My favorite scene was the casino.
Oh, when he speed forced him himself and made everybody win, and he won. And
I did kind of love that abuse of the Speed
what did he
Force.
do with that money? Did he keep the money?
No, he gave it away. He said he donated it to something or other. I didn't care enough to
He
keep
probably
it.
used it to pay his rent because he needs the money.
That apartment is fucking expensive.
Yeah, he said he
It's
gave
a
it all
two-story
away.
apartment. But wait, there is one thing that I'm really glad to see is that his dog is still in the show.
Okay, so when that guy came in and threatened your family, your friends, and your little dog too, mwahaha. Did
Okay.
anybody else have that thought?
First off, don't threaten the dog.
Right.
I would have killed you right there.
This is the second episode in a row where they threaten harm to the dogs.
Okay. Second, that's the worst plan in the world because I don't care how big Barry's apartment is. Just throwing a grenade in the middle of the room, like nonchalantly.
Right.
Okay, first off, where the hell did he get a grenade? Because you can't go to this corner store and just pick one up.
No, from his
He was
mobster
a DA.
friends who probably had connections to the biker gang.
But what was
Yeah,
he like? Hey guys, can I borrow a grenade or whatever? Like, no. All right.
He was the DA.
He took it from an evidence lockup, probably. Whatever.
He's convinced that Barry's the Flash, right? But he doesn't really have the proof yet.
Right. She just told him a name.
Yeah.
How confident are you in her skills?
Right. So he throws the grenade, which, okay, good play, like to get the Flash to use his powers, fine. But really, really dumb plan.
Yeah.
Oh, and like third. Am I on like third or fourth now? Like
Whatever,
problem
keep
with this
ranting.
scene? Whatever. Okay.
Doesn't matter. Just go.
The dog jumps off the couch to go get their grenade. Like he's gonna play
Because
fetch.
it's a
He's so desperate for somebody
Shoe
to play
toy.
with him.
Yeah, it's just like, oh,
I know, poor
oh,
dog.
Man throw thing, me go get. And like, boom.
Well, I had two dogs, and one of them will go after anything I throw, and the other one will just stare at me like, you expect me to go for
You
that?
go get it, asshole.
Yeah, you go get
You're
it.
the one that threw it.
Hey, you dropped your thing. How come you threw it over there?
Okay. And then, of course, he's got his blind date who reads auras.
I can tell by your aura.
Oh.
This
This
show.
episode, the second episode was more fun.
Yes.
It was more fun, yeah.
It was silly. It really didn't make sense,
Yeah.
most of it.
I wish it was cheesier.
Right down to like, okay, so he confronts her in her van and they're watching like on the little TV screen, the couple that she's trying to catch him cheating or whatever. And then the wife comes in with the shotgun and then Barry goes and stops them. But
Right.
how does he know where they are?
Yeah, he doesn't know where they are. They could be anywhere in any of the surrounding blocks.
Yeah.
He just shows up.
Yeah, he shows up and in costume.
Speed Force.
Does he know how to put the costume in the ring yet at this point? I don't know.
I don't know where he's keeping the costume because he's just running around in his trench coat and street clothes, and then
Right.
poof, he's in the costume. So who
And
knows?
can we please mention how many people in this show have super long trench coats? It's very Highlander.
It's the
Yeah.
style. Look, where else are you going to hide your katana or your shotgun or whatever? All right, this episode, the card sharp guy,
Mhm.
he's a character actor named Dick Miller, and he shows up in a ton of stuff in the 80s and 90s.
I know I've seen him before. I couldn't remember him from anything in particular, but I've definitely seen him.
He's got that crackly face, you know. It's always the guy
Yeah.
you go and you ask about something else that's going on.
He's
Yeah.
in an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, the one where they go back in time to the Bell riots, and he's the
Oh,
one
yeah.
guy that Cisco's stuck with the whole time. And he shows up to make a connection to another podcast on the GonnaGeek Network. In 1984's The Terminator, he is the pawn shop guy that the Terminator steals all the guns from and shoots.
And shoots.
He's
Look at
that
that.
guy, and we talked about that in a recent episode of Art House Legends, where we're doing the Art House Summer.
Shameless plug.
Oh.
Shameless plug. So that guy is that guy from that thing that you probably recognized in this episode, Dick Miller.
That sounds like a made-up name, by the way.
I bet it is his
Stage name.
stage name or
Okay.
something.
Well,
But again, he
yeah.
shows up in a ton of stuff, and he's still working apparently, which is great.
Good for him. Hey, can I just mention, I mean, I know that I'm always the one that's popping in with style and whatever, but I'm thinking that Barry somewhere has an entire closet with nothing but mock turtlenecks. Because that's
You're
all he ever
probably right.
wears is these mock turtlenecks. That's one of the notes that I made.
Are you mocking his mock turtleneck?
Yes, I'm mocking his mock turtlenecks. Oh, and I love that the headquarter of the mob guy, he doesn't have murals, but he has those ginormous paintings that take over the entire wall that are very 1940s
Yeah.
Russian worker, like hard lines
Yeah.
with shadows and stuff, which are really cool, but they take up the entire wall. And for some reason, I guess in the 90s, you felt that every space of your wall had to have one giant design on it.
Right. Good stuff. So What did you think of, like, the moral question? Because the DA has, like, figured out who the Flash is, and then, like, he's, like, exploiting the fact that he knows that Barry won't kill him because Barry's not that guy.
But apparently he's never seen The Godfather because he just gets in the car,
Yeah, he
turns
just gets
the
in the
key
car,
and...
like Apollonia.
Oh, poor Apollonia.
It seems like a lot of people are learning his super secret identity really early on.
Well, that's pretty much how The Flash 2014 turned out.
Right, and it seemed like a bad idea then, too.
Just don't let people know your secret identity.
Right,
Bad
I mean,
idea.
secret. It's right there in the name. Whatever. We didn't see any of his family again.
They were mentioned.
Yeah, they were mentioned, but we never see any of them again.
I don't think we will, unless there's a very special Christmas episode or something. I don't think we will.
I don't know, I feel like right after his brother dies, he would spend a lot of time with his nephew or something. But whatever.
I think he moved to a different part of Central City.
Right, because
I
he's
think
in a
that's what
different
happened, just
apartment. He
moved.
just cut ties
Yeah.
with everybody.
Whatevs.
Whatevs.
Maybe that's what happened with Iris. Maybe she decided that she was in love with Barry's sister-in-law, who's now widowed, and they have moved somewhere with Barry's nephew to live together.
And, as of Friday, they can now get married.
And raise him as their own.
And raise him as... Right. It all makes sense to me, at least.
How many more episodes do we have of this?
A bunch.
Yeah.
Like,
We have a bunch,
gonna take
but
a while.
it's going to get better. There's going to be more
it gets
guest
better.
stars.
Does it?
Mark Hamill's going to show up. Right? This is good.
I mean, it's not going to get worse. I feel comfortable saying that.
Yes.
We have to come up with a new way of watching this to make it more entertaining.
Drunker.
Well, I feel like there's definitely some drinking games that you can have with these episodes.
Yeah.
Wonky Science is definitely one of them. Barry's super speed really just being like a camera trick and not an actual like special effect of any kind.
A double exposure is what they were doing. They were doing double exposure shit. It was awful. What they would do is that they'd lock down the camera, and then they'd have the actors do the scene without him in it.
Yeah.
And then they'd have him go in it and run around really fast and make all the actions without the other person there. And then they would have the main character, or the victim or whoever he was beating up in full res, and then they'd speed up his stuff and then do a 50% blur on it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how they did it. It was really fucking bad.
It was, ugh.
Or even like the scenes of the casino and stuff where it's just like a sound effect and like they'll shoot it and then like move him out of the shot and then shoot it for like a couple frames and then put him back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somewhere somebody would turn on a blow dryer.
I feel like this Flash is much faster than the Flash in the new show.
Because he moves like
Instantaneously.
Yeah, because he's moving faster than the speed of sight or whatever, because
Right.
people don't even see the blur a lot of the time.
And I feel like that's probably something that's, well, even in this we saw that it's not consistent how fast he is. Because sometimes he moves so fast you can't even tell that he moved, and other times he's moving so slow that
You can just grab him.
the monster guy can grab him.
Right.
It's like, come on,
The
dude.
one effect that I liked was when he gets out of the glass and he uses the star off his buddy's chest to like cut the hole in the glass by moving his arm around. That actually kind of worked.
That was
the
okay.
way they did it.
Yeah, that wasn't so bad, but can I one of the things that I wrote down in my notes talking about speed, when the bad guy, the professor, throws the jar of poison and he catches it, and the jar of poison has a giant skull and crossbones on it.
It's bad. That was from the last episode.
That is quite the trope.
Really bad props department, but yeah.
And it wasn't even poison, it was volatile, so it should have exploded. Not poison.
Right.
So there should have been like a little flame thing on it.
But it had a cartoon skull and crossbones on it, and that's what matters.
I don't think I have any more thoughts to share about these.
I don't either. I'm done. Now, what do we got coming up next week?
Next week we have 2 more episodes, so that's something to look forward to.
Honor Amongst Thieves and Double Vision.
Is Double Vision the one with the clone? I think it might be. There's an episode with a clone.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Well, I can't wait for that possibility.
But elsewhere on the GonnaGeek network, Arthouse Legends has done an episode on Terminator and Terminator 2. Can you tell us about that, Lobster?
Well, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. So what we're doing is, for the entire month of July, we're doing an art house summer, and we're doing some of the biggest summer blockbusters of all time. And we're kicking it off with a double feature, a drive-in double feature of James Cameron's Terminator duology, 84's The Terminator, and 1991's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So on this episode, we talk about the Terminator as a horror movie villain, a hero, and franchise anchor, while frequently veering into a critique of the other entries in the Terminator saga, and finally pitching our dream Terminator sequels. So with Genesis coming out and kind of a revisitation of the Terminator franchise, this is a must-listen episode of Art House Legends.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to it. Hey, I got a question. For your Terminator 2 discussion, do you guys talk about the quote-unquote director's cut, the extended version?
Yes, we talk about some of the differences in the different cuts of the film. We specifically, for the purposes of the discussion, we stick with the theatrical, but we talk about some of the other cuts.
Especially the alternate ending at the playground?
Yeah.
Did you guys get into that?
Yep.
I love that. I just think it's really cool, that's all. Good, I'm looking forward to listening to it.
I think that you'll enjoy it. And we're doing a couple other big movies. We're doing Jaws. We're doing Back to the Future. So this is fun stuff. But this is the first time we've done like two movies in one. And it's something that we really felt like there's nothing more summer than a drive-in double feature.
Exactly. And it's a good one to kick it off with, too.
Yeah, it's a great one. I actually am excited to go and see Genesis. I heard it's terrible, but...
Yes.
You know.
I've heard it's terrible, and I've heard it's not so terrible. So...
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it depends what you're in a Terminator movie for. Like, do you want to see robots kick the crap out of each other? Do you want weird time travel paradox? Do you want, the Arnold to say things that are mildly quotable? Come on. And it's got Khaleesi in it. And
I've heard there's a lot of, like, what the fuck moments, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably like watching an episode of the 1990s Flash, just with better special effects.
And more fight scenes.
Right.
And better everything's.
Right.
Matt Smith is in it, but he's not in any of the trailers.
Because he's a secret character. I know who he is, but I can't say.
Oh, don't tell us. Don't tell me. Because I'm going to go and see, when I get back from the desert this weekend. Hey, it's 4th of July weekend, everyone.
That's right. Nothing's more patriotic than the Flash.
Right. Or when you're listening to this, it might have just been 4th of July weekend.
Right.
I hope nobody burned themselves.
Right.
I hope nobody burned themselves.
Still have all your fingers and eyes and things like that.
And you have plenty of aspirin and get over the hangover.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any feedback? Email, Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, forum comments, or iTunes reviews? Nope. Well, you should take the opportunity, dear listener, and send us one of those things so that we can include it on our next episode. Tell us what you think of the commentary episode that we just released.
And I really hope you'll watch this show along with us, because it's not fair for us to suffer alone.
Right, exactly. You should be punished too.
Yeah, we're not doing this so that you don't suffer. We're doing this so that you suffer with us.
Yeah, it's a group project. Everyone do their homework for next week.
Yeah, but you know how group projects go.
Oh, that's right. One person has to do all the work.
Do all the work.
Right.
And one person will send in, a half-done piece of shit that's worse than getting nothing at all.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I think that we should all go out in the alley and stand around the fire and the 55-gallon drum and lament about our lot in life.
And throw some bottle rockets in there, because fuck yeah, America.
America, fuck yeah.
So, what have we learned this week?
I'll tell you what I learned. I learned that the 1990s were nowhere near as cool and hip as I remember them being. It's just a sad time for all of us.
I learned that in 3-card Monte, the house always wins.
And I learned that some children deserve to burn alive.
Ooh, that's harsh.
Was there like the implication that the kids started the fire too? Did I dream that up, or was that actually part of it?
No, that crazy... Oh, we didn't even talk at all about the crazy guy that actually set the fires.
Yeah, that part I tried to forget.
I don't even remember there was a crazy guy. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, yeah, the guy that was quoting scripture.
Yeah.
The religious nut that was quoting scripture.
I'm not even sure if he was quoting scripture or if he was making up scripture.
Yeah.
He was making that shit up.
He's not ready for eternity. And then I thought maybe they were going to imply that the old lady was setting the fires, because she's like, no, I've been there for every one.
Dun, dun, dun.
Weird. The show.
Wasn't that old lady in Sanford and Son? She was like from a bunch of old shows from the 70s and 80s.
That's possible. This has been Crimson Comet episode 29. Join us next week as we discuss The Flash season 1, episode 3, Honor Among Thieves, and episode 4, Double Vision. Until then, I'm Haley.
I'm Lobster.
And I'm Rum Daddy.
Bye. Thanks for listening. If you want to leave us feedback, you can find all of our contact information at crimsoncometpodcast.com. Find us on Twitter at Crimson Podcast or Facebook at facebook.com/Crimson Comet Podcast. Leave us a voicemail at 423-53. That's 423-352-7453. The opinions heard on this podcast are those of the individual host and do not represent GonnaGeek. The podcast is not affiliated with DC Comics, Warner Brothers, or the CW. No infringement is intended. The music heard is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com.
Are you excited to talk about these 2 episodes of The Flash?
Those are definitely some episodes we watched.
We watched the hell out of them.
Did you guys record last week?
No.
Did we?
No. Not Crimson.
We wouldn't do this without you.
Come on. Miss these gems.
Nobody else would do it.
These gems of 90s television without you? No.
Guys, I hate this fucking show.